meeting of the Lake Bluff Village Board of Trustees. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Inkeman.
Here.
Trustee Briand.
Here.
Trustee Fisher.
Here.
Trustee Martin. Here. Trustee Rappin.
Here.
Trustee Ryder.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is the consideration of the minutes of the April 25th, 2022 Village Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Thank you. Any changes? I hear none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Voice vote's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next is item number 4, the non-agenda items and visitors. The village president and board of trustees allocate 15 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the village board of trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the village board of trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. I understand I have Chair Hart with us.
Thank you.
Please state your name and your address. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My name is Sandy Hart. I serve as a chair of the Lake County Board, but I also live in Lake Bluff at 455 Pine Court. I just wanted to come today because after almost 10 years, maybe even longer, we have finally launched Ride Lake County. This is launched in conjunction with PACE, as well as our townships and villages across Lake County. So we used to have service that was limited within sort of groups of townships or even single townships. And so when people wanted to use them, and maybe I should start over, this is a paratransit service. It's for seniors age 60 plus and people with disabilities. So in the past, they were kind of limited to travel within their townships, and then they had to kind of get off one bus and get on another bus, and they had to plan their trips far in advance. But now it is a borderless system throughout Lake County, beyond township borders, and some places in beyond those county borders. So there's probably some hospitals or other shopping centers in these areas along the edges. But really, this is a life-changing thing for seniors and people with disabilities. The cost is very low. It is $2 each way for trips under 5 miles, $4 each way for trips between 5 and 10 miles, and $6 each way for trips over 10 miles. I was talking to a Lake Bluff resident recently who happens to work with 3 people with disabilities at his office. It takes them 2 hours to get to work. He works in Waukegan. The people live in Highland Park. So that is a thing of the past now. People will be able to make calls anywhere from a week in advance to 2 hours in advance of their ride, and they will be picked up. It's a curb service, and they'll be able to get to places where they need to go, and that could be grocery stores, doctor's appointments, and really work. More than 50% of the rides that are used on paratransit are for work, and so it's just a great program that will be much more seamless for people. That will operate 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 7 days a week, and there is just one phone number that they need to call, and it's on the documents as well as on this poster. But it's 1-800-201-6446. And really, they'll just be able to, it'll really give them much greater independence and freedom. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of this. You do already have the pamphlets downstairs, so we appreciate that. In just 4 days, we serviced more residents than we normally do in a month, and that is in just the first 4 days of this of this program before the word has really gotten out yet. So if you could just help us kind of spread the word on this, it's just really important, and we're really pleased to be able to offer this, again, in conjunction with PACE and our other local partners. We just think it's going to be life-changing for many people. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I think that will be life-changing to our over 60 population, so I really thank you for the work you did.
Thank you.
And I bet we could put that in our new, next village letter.
You could add to the website. And that is, I mean, that's been talked about in townships and counties throughout Illinois for decades. The fact that it's done and it's borderless it's a miracle, is what it is.
Well, it is, if I may, it is kind of a miracle because a lot of these townships had their own programs, and some of them were not just curb to curb, they were door to door. So if they had elderly customers, they were really able to help them out of their home. And that's a really difficult service to be able to provide on a countywide system. So this is curb to curb. We saw the one of the vans. It can accommodate, I think it was up to 4 people in wheelchairs. If you have smaller routes where people need to go, they can pick people up in vans as well. So there's oftentimes services where it will just be one person getting a ride. But it's really a terrific program. There was a person in town here who had a disability, and he had to quit his job because his mom, he had to switch buses, and there was no way his mom could know that he could get to and from work safely. So anyway, there's some frequently asked questions here. People do need to register beforehand to show that they're 60 and older or live with a disability, and then they can book a ride. So thank you.
I have friends who are in wheelchairs. That will be a life-changing event.
Yeah, thank
Truly.
you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Thank you very much.
There's no one virtually who's raising their hand.
Nobody else online? Thank you very much. Next item is our non-agenda items and visitors. Nope. This is the village board sets the order of a meeting. The village president and board of trustees will entertain requests from anyone present on the order of business to be conducted during the village board meeting. So I do understand that we have item number 12, that is Central Avenue Partners. Number 13, that is a garage at 112 East North Avenue. And item 16, that would be a planter bed at the Lake Bluff Library, that would take precedence. If I do not have objections, we move forward with these items. Thank you. So next item would be item 12. Item 12 is, Item 12 is an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 2 of the Municipal Code concerning, no, that's not that, sorry about that. Item 12 is an ordinance granting variations for the renovation of a garage at 112 East North Avenue. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So,
12.
12.
It's 12 on the agenda.
It's 12.
12 is Center Avenue Partners,
Center Avenue Partners,
not
No, 12.
Center Avenue Partners.
Yes.
Is that what we're
He
talking
said
about?
the garage at 112.
Oh,
So item 12 is an ordinance amending a special use permit and granting parking variations and site plan approval for the Center Avenue Partners Development, 79 and 91 East Scranton Avenue. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
second.
Thank you. On March 28, 2022, the Village of Lake Bluff received a zoning relief application from Center Avenue Partners applicant to modify the parking lot of their development in order to expand the pedestrian walkway on its eastern edge. This walkway is commonly known as the Scranton Alley and is the site of outdoor dining operations by Prairie Espresso, Expansion of a pedestrian walkway requires the relocation of certain parking spaces and the repurposing of the abandoned drive-through lane as dedicated parking stall. The owners will also be relocating a stormwater inlet elsewhere within the parking lot. To authorize these changes, the village zoning application require amendments to the property, to the property existing special permit, special use permit. That's the first time I cannot use a computer, people. The issuance of a new variation to allow for the creation of a parking lot without a turnaround area, and the site plan approval. On Thursday, April 28, the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals conducted a public hearing and unanimously recommended the Village Board grant the requested relief. On Tuesday, May 3rd, the Architectural Board of Review conducted a public hearing and unanimously recommended the Village Board grant the requested relief. Thank you. Questions, comments, and could we have a comment from the developers, Central Avenue developers?
Nothing really to add. Want to say something?
Any questions on the board?
Ladies first. You go.
I just,
Always you and me.
I just had a quick question on one of the drawings. It indicated like a food truck area and a future bocce or fire pit and relocated parking in the alley back there. I just want to, like, we're not voting on that.
No.
We're just voting on
No, I
the
was just-
expanded walkway, correct?
This is Ron Osterline's 670, or that's my old address, 217 Ascot Court, Lake Bluff. No, that's just planting some seeds, ideas for potential future use of the drive-through.
Okay.
It's kind of a dead space right now, and it's shared, shared with the village property lines, and I think there could be some cool things that could be developed in that area, and open to ideas and how that moves forward.
It's the alley right back there, right? Like, there's a, yeah, it's.
The former bank drive-through lane.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you.
sure.
Mr. Osterline, the parking, so the handicap parking is moving and it's going to take up 2 spots. The new parking that's going to be in that alleyway, is that 1 spot?
Yes, yeah, so we're displacing, basically displacing 1 spot and moving it to the drive-through. And the curb cut, it was always intended that the handicap be on the other side. For some reason, it ended up in the other side. The curb cut's already there on the Innovasi side, and they get the most deliveries, so it really makes sense from that perspective as well. We're also most likely gonna have Prairie use the parking spots nearest the brick alleyway because of the lack of turnaround. And so by having Prairie be the main user of those parking spots, we feel that's a way to overcome that as well.
And this is increasing the capacity, the seating capacity by like 20 or 25%?
It could, but we're not asking that. We just want to be able to move, if we, move chairs. We've already used the space we've already used the parking lot as it's designed, or as we want to design it, with brick. So we're just making it aesthetically nicer and kind of it's already being used that way. But maybe down the road, we'll ask for additional seating. For right now, we're fine with the seating we have.
And just to clarify right now, that the special use permit has flexibility that village administrator can authorize different uses. John Davis, who's here tonight, has done a number of different types of events in the alley and shifted things around to serve those events, and suspect that'll continue moving forward, and that this is kind of a bigger canvas for him to paint his picture.
Right, exactly. Good way of saying it.
And will there still be space for people, clearly, if they just want to walk through the alley?
Yeah.
I know there are people that use the alley, like they just kind of walk through the alley and they're not sitting down or buying anything, and that's, you guys are still okay with that?
Yep, that's.
That's a requirement of the ordinance, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
So you're okay with that?
I guess that was my question. It seems like that is a very well-used space, and it does feel kind of private at times. And I was wondering, what is it that makes people know that that is a public area, or that it is, you're not walking in someone's private party, that you're allowed to just go through there? Because it seems like it just is encroaching and encroaching with, I mean, beautiful planters and, you know, it's great investment, but it also makes it feel less public and less welcome. And so I didn't know if that was a concern shared by anyone else, or how that could be just.
You know, I think it's kind of like a local treasure that people know about. And
That's-
people,
yeah.
And it's worked, and the village has never, or worked with the property owner to sign it in any different way.
Right.
It's just, it's worked.
I think, you know, it's mainly for the village people of the village, and people know about it and use it that way, and
To that point, there is sidewalk system that connects to it, right? So people can just end up on a path and, oh, here I am, right? So that,
And so I'm articulating a concern that does not exist.
I haven't heard that. I mean, I think,
Well,
I think
good
there.
to know.
If
I mean,
you can say
realistic-
it exists.
From time to time, there are private events that are held there, and it's, you know, the velvet rope's there. But that happens from time to time, and it works.
yeah. And the Tesca study actually describes it in a way, kind of the way you're describing it. You find yourself in an area where, you know, random spaces, places, and to explore. And so that's, I think it works well with that.
Yeah,
I
I
do
would-
think it's beautiful and interesting, and I do want to encourage that accessibility for, you know, people to do that, to explore. And sometimes I don't know if I've just stumbled in the wrong place, and I just don't care. So I just want to know if that really is, you know, public and open, and it is.
Yes, and so it's not public property, but it is open for a public way. So, and that's related to the original zoning relief when that property was redeveloped years ago. But I would actually raise Ron one to say that Tesco, when they talk about the alley and the space that John and his team have created there, they talk about it nationally as like, you have to come see this place, right? This is a beautiful niche area that people seek out. I mean, why would people drive for a cup of coffee from Wilmette? I hear about it, and it's because they want to experience that unique space, so.
That's great.
Yeah.
Any more questions on the board? So it is a first reading of the ordinance, and therefore it's a voice vote.
We requested oh, you got that, okay.
Yes,
All right.
so if there are any more questions, this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So the motion carries. Now, I received an email from Mr. Osterline about waiving a second reading and adopting the ordinance at this location. So typically, there needs to be a reason why we should do that today. Would we have a reason to do a second reading today?
So generally speaking, I would say historically, the board has hesitated to waive second reading to give folks time to know what's happening, and the idea that, you know, we send out newsletters and let people know what's happening in the community and that this is approved on first reading. But if there's other business reasons or necessity that the village has considered, consider that when pondering questions like you're posing today. I think a lot of times the questions I've asked, have you applied for a building permit yet? Is this zoning relief the only thing holding you up for proceeding with construction? If the answer is no, then I guess are you close to applying for a permit, where I would think that the nature of these improvements are such that from a staff perspective, it would not take that long to review a permit like this. So between now and the next 2 weeks, we could turn around a permit before the board, had a chance to approve it. But I don't know where you're at in terms of your.
Yeah,
submittal.
we're ready to go into permit tomorrow. The storm sewer that we wanted to move also actually coincidentally needs to be replaced. So it's good timing. It's in desperate it's not functioning right now, so it needs to be fixed right away. So there's an urgency on that, and that's part of the whole project.
Okay. So I think we could bring a vote, that would be a roll call vote in this case, requiring a two-third majority.
In support of that, I just offer that I read the minutes of the PCZBA meeting where there was an opportunity to discuss this. So this isn't the first time the public is hearing about this request. PCZBA maybe doesn't get the kind of press we do, but.
Why don't I make a motion to waive the second reading?
A second?
Second.
Let's have a second reading, thank you.
You need a
A
two-thirds.
second, sorry,
your
I'm
roll call
tired.
vote.
I am calling a roll call vote, I'm sorry. Please call roll.
Trustee Briand?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Rappin?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Thank you, the ordinance pass.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Next item is item number 13. That would be an ordinance granting variations for the renovation of a garage at 112 East North Avenue. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. On February 28th, 2022, the Village of Lake Bluff received a zoning variation application from Ronald Gauvin, trustee, the applicant, for zoning relief necessary to renovate an existing non-conforming garage located at the rear of the applicant's property at 112 East North Avenue. The applicant asserts that the existing structure is over 100 years old and is structurally unsound due to wall and foundation issues. The renovations, as described, would resolve these issues and finish the existing second floor of a structure for use as an existing room. Owing to its age, the structure is non-conforming with the village current zoning regulations in numerous ways. Section 10-8-2 of the zoning regulations requires that when a structure is to be restored or rebuilt to the extent of more than 50% of the cost of replacement new, the structure would otherwise be required to come into conformity with the zoning regulations. Accordingly, while the proposed work would not increase the degree of non-conformity with any particular requirement, it requires numerous variations as shown in the attached ordinance. On Thursday, April 28th, the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals conducted a public hearing and unanimously recommended the Village Board grant the requested relief with the additional condition that the zoning relief is intended to allow for the renovation of a garage and not its demolition and reconstruction. Section 4D of the attached ordinance preservation has been prepared by the village attorney to implement this recommendation. One thing I should also notice is Govans are friends of mine, and we work out together, and I have run marathons with your wife, simply enough. So this said, and that is a disclaimer, but we all know each other in the village anyways. But this said, are there any questions on the board?
It's my understanding that, again, the structure that is going to be renovated, all the variations and exceptions that we would be asked to approve are not increasing any of the variations. It's just permitting them to exist with the renovation.
Correct.
Any more questions on the board?
First reading.
It's a first reading. If there are no more questions, this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. The ordinance passes first reading. Thank you. Next item is item number 16. Item 16 is a resolution approving a site plan to add planter beds at the Lake Bluff Library at 123 East Scranton Avenue. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. The library would like to the library would like to start a learning garden to complement the summer reading club theme, growing readers. They are proposing 2 raised planter beds on the west side of the building in the grass area between the public sidewalk and the flower beds. The library has signed a non-exclusive special license agreement to have a planter beds in the public right-of-way. The item was reviewed by the ARB, the Architectural Board of Review, at their meeting on May 3rd. The ABR voted 5-0 to recommend that the village board approve the site plan. Eric, would you like to make a comment?
Eric Bailey, Library Director. I would only add that I've distributed some additional information to go with what's already in the packet. Some information as far as the Growing Readers program that we're going to be having ongoing this summer, as well as some information about the beds themselves. Through a community connection, our head of youth services, Eliza Jarvie, has lined up for us a bed that's going to be made of local pine and treated with a Japanese technique that I'm not completely sure of the pronunciation on, but which will make the wood, besides not using any chemicals, will render it insect resistant and decrease the likeliness of water damage. So have some lovely trellises that will be going up to provide area for the vining crops, and should be both useful for the summer reading program as well as something that will be a beautiful addition to the site. So I am here for any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for enhancing our community with flowers.
Is this going to be a permanent addition, or is it going to be, at the end of the summer, something that's tucked away and perhaps brought out again next summer?
We are committed to having it here for the summer and committed to evaluating it after, at that time, once the summer is over. Mm-hmm. If it is a success, we would like to have it return, but if it isn't, then, we would move on to the next thing.
Thank you.
To that end, I'm just curious, how do you, I think, I love the idea, it's awesome. How do you visualize children using it? Right, is this for children to use?
Yes, though we are having a lot of family programming centered around it as well.
Okay.
So we have a number of programs that we have set up, initially around the planning, and then we're going to have the watering and care of the garden,
Okay.
handled primarily by volunteers,
Okay.
throughout the summer. So we're looking forward to having a lot of garden-themed programs, of which that will be a part, as well as to making all efforts to get people involved with the care and keeping of that space.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Eric, are you going to be using vegetables, or are you going to be doing just flowers for the?
Vegetables, primarily.
I'm just curious what the plan for harvesting the vegetables will be.
I'm 4 houses away, so I'm just gonna, as I make salads, I'm just gonna grab
A
it.
little missing every day.
Yeah, can we have a snack as we walk by?
Well, while officially snacking is discouraged, I do know for a fact that the planning has been that, well, when it gets to that sort of, people are probably, if there's a cherry or tomato, somebody, there's some of them are going to go. It's going to happen. So If you ever feel compelled, don't stress about it, just grab one. But my understanding is that that'll be, again, another event where we'll really try and involve kids, bringing in the crops, particularly, all the kids that have been involved in helping us maintain that space over the course of the garden, having the chance to see, all the fantastic things that we've, fingers crossed, been able to grow. Got a lot of great vegetables started, some seedlings that we've got going under a grow light in youth services already. I don't know that I would necessarily have made some of the choices that Eliza picked out. I'm not as keen on the Brussels sprouts, I think, as she is.
Oh, but they're so fun to grow.
They are. There's no denying that. But we've got a great selection.
There's absolutely nothing better as a child to eat a tomato that you pick yourself up under the sun when it's warm, and that taste is amazing. So thank you. Any more comments?
Voice vote.
So this is a resolution, so that will be a roll call.
Voice vote.
Resolution.
Voice vote, okay. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Resolution passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is item 6A, the warrant report for April 26 to May 9. Is there a motion to approve a warrant report?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. As a summary of background and reason for request, expenditure of village funds for payment of invoices are in the amount of $311,429.79 for April 26 to May 9, 2022, and expenditures of village funds for payment of payroll in the amount of $299,614.42 for April 2022, for a total expenditures of $611,044.21. The reports and documents attached are the warrant report for April 26 to May 9, 2022, again for the amount of $311,429.79, and dated 4/26 to 5/9/2022. As a note, the invoice register report shows checks with a status of open or paid. All checks with a status of open are computer-generated checks for the board's final approval. Checks with the status of paid are checks processed manually. And second, the fiscal year 2021 to 2022 payroll report. Questions of the board to Bettina? I hear no questions. It is a roll call, or it's a voice vote?
Roll call.
It's a roll
You're
call.
correct.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Rappin?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Brian?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is item 6B, the Treasurer's Annual Report of the Police Pension Fund. Is there a motion to approve
Accept the report.
to accept the report? Yes.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Thank you. Bettina, could you please give us a
Summary.
summary?
Sure. Did you just want me to read that entire summary page? Sure.
Whatever you prefer.
Okay.
I can give a
So,
summary if you'd like to. I'm happy to give a summary as well.
It's fine.
Okay.
So the report provides an annual summary of year-end cash balances, revenues, and expenses. And it's state statute that this report be provided by the second Tuesday in every May. It also is required that it lists out all the disbursements, that being the annuitant payments and any other checks that were written to various vendors within the pension fund, and also provide a current list of active member contributions there, so i.e. Employee deductions. Overall, the fund has seen a decline this year of 6.3%. And we're looking towards transfer of assets by June 1st to the state. It's a quick version.
Thank you, Bettina, and sorry for surprising you with my request.
Oh, no worries.
Any questions on the board?
Bettina, I asked Drew this earlier, where things stood with the transfer of assets to the state. He said that there was something going on with that that may impact
Slow it down
that,
potentially,
that
yeah.
might slow down the transfer. Is there
So there was some litigation in place, but that has changed from a class action to just, I believe, the 3 to 4 entities, municipalities that began the litigation. So we would not be a part of that. So I'm not sure that anything will slow down. State statute currently says everything has to be moved by the end of June.
Okay.
So our first movement of assets is June 1st.
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to ask earlier, but the big unrealized loss in the revenues, can you just explain that to me? I'm sure you've done that previously.
The loss in revenues is just market driven.
Investment income.
That's it in a nutshell.
And that's for the past 12 months?
Yes.
And that,
If you look, we were talking about that. It'd be great, when we, in October or September, when we give you the other report related to this actuarial report for the police pension fund, having like a temporal analysis of that is the market moves up and down. Generally speaking, it's still a net positive, over the last, well, we're looking at, was it the first 5 years, last 5 years, Bettina, we were talking about?
Right. So in 2018, we were just over 10 million, and in 2022, we're at 12.3. So certainly we've ebbed and flowed. Last year's year-end market, had some phenomenal gains. And then the last 12 months have seen, losses.
And just high level, so the village, when you look at the number of beneficiaries of this and you look at how many people paying into it, it's not a healthy balance, right? We're really small. And the idea that this is not ideal, the village, prior to being required to, as a population requirement, elected to start its own police pension fund many moons ago, and very small, and it's high risk, right? Everything matters more, and it's just not a big pool of people to smooth out when people are drawing on this. So it's not a long-term, I think we're very hopeful that the pooling of this with other entities will benefit us as well as everybody else, as we think it might, so.
Well, Bettina, is your anticipation that the investment strategies will be potentially more conservative when it's transferred? Versus what, I noticed you say the greatest losses were in international equities. Do you have any idea how the assets will be diversified?
So they haven't come out with a formal policy as to what they'd be looking at for allocations. However, you can look at smaller funds that are under 10 million that can't purchase or invest in certain assets will now be pooled into a massive fund that can. So you'll be seeing across the board, probably, there should be a better return overall, just because of that.
Right. Okay, good.
But they haven't come out with, the police side of the transfer has been much slower than the fire side, and they haven't come out with full policies yet that we've seen.
Okay. Thanks.
So,
Thank
sure.
you, Bettina. Thank you, Bettina. Any more questions? So if there are no more questions, this is a voice vote for this report. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So this motion carries for this report. Next is item number 7, the village administrator's report. Mr. Irvin, do you have a report tonight?
I do not.
Thank you. Item number 8, the village attorney's report.
Oh, you know what? That's not true. Sorry. Just really quickly, just a heads up. So about a month ago, the board discussed an outdoor dining policy, how they were going to modify and ultimately opted to shift everything across the street, open it up to two-way traffic, and create the parklet to kind of best mimic the approved concept plan. And the Block 1 businesses and the Block 1 property manager, Rob Douglas, have presented a plan to the ABR. The ABR was, I would say, 80% satisfied with what they saw, and directed, or I should say not directed, authorized the chair, Bob Hunter, to work with Rob Douglas and the restaurateurs to finalize a plan that you all, which I think as of this afternoon was 100% there. So I think you will see that at the next meeting in time for the switch over. So that's the heads up. You'll see it 2 weeks.
Very nice, thank you. I'm looking actually forward to see that happening.
May 30th.
Next is item number 8,
You're not there?
the village attorney's report. Mr. Friedman, do you have a report?
No report other than to thank all of you who were able to come on Friday. We enjoyed having you.
It was brilliant. It was good. Thank you. Great building, by the way. Next is item number 9, village president's report. I do not have a report. This is followed by our consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of the acceptance of a correspondence. Please note all correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees in the informational reports on April 22nd and April 29, 2022. And item 11, that is an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 2 of the Municipal Code concerning vehicle licenses. Is there a request to remove any of these items from the consent agenda? Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Rappin?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Brienne?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to other business, we addressed 12, we addressed 13. Next is item number 14, that is an ordinance amending Title 3 of the Village of Lake Bluff Municipal Code concerning Class R, W, and Z liquor licenses. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. The attached ordinance, as recommended by the Liquor Commissioner, reducing the number of available A, R, W, and Z licenses by 1 each due to the following non-renewal of current liquor licenses consist of Chipotle Mexican Grill on 945 Rockland Road, Suite A, where they have ceased their retail sales of liquor prior to the renewal date and did not file a 2022 to 2023 renewal application for their Class R license, and Tampel Co., doing business as B Market on 24 East Scranton Avenue, who has applied to renew their Class A, W, and Z licenses. However, both the Illinois Liquor Control Act 235 ILCS/5/6-2A13 and the Village Code Section 3-2-5K prohibit the issuance of a liquor license to a person who does not beneficially own the premises for which a license is sought or does not have a lease thereon for the full period for which the license is to be issued. Tampel Co. did not provide a lease with their application and is presently the defendant in a pending eviction suit before the Lake County Circuit Court filed by their landlord. As their application is materially incomplete, the village cannot issue Tampel Co. a 2022 to 2023 liquor license. The Liquor Commissioner requests that the board waive second reading of the ordinance and adopt it at its May 9 meeting. Questions? No questions on the board?
Just the rationale behind, since this is the first time for those of us who are new that anything like this has come up where it has to do with liquor licenses. What's the rationale of waiving the second reading? Is there any possibility that in the interim period, something could change?
Peter, you want to?
Peter, could you address that? To waive the second reading in that 2-week interim period, could something change that would make this a moot point?
I don't anticipate anything.
No, what the idea is, historically, is the village has, as licenses have people decided not to seek them, or the village is in a position where it can't issue them, is the idea to try to clear the slate, to have none available to be sought through application. That's what we've done historically. Legal reasons behind that, Peter?
Yeah, the legal reason is if you have a license that's available and somebody came in, then they would have the ability to say, hey, there's one available. So not having it available means nobody
Eliminates
can
that
really
argument,
even
yeah.
apply for it, and we would have complete discretion to say no, because we'd have to amend our code to allow it.
Okay. All right.
I have kind of an unrelated question about the table that I just noticed. Under license class V, we have 3 licensee holders, but it says maximum number of licenses is 2. Is that just a typo? It's completely unrelated to this conversation. I apologize for bringing it up right now.
Which class, I'm sorry?
V?
V is
Victor.
victory.
2.
So Donati's and Mabry and El Norte.
I'll double check that.
Okay.
It's probably a typo. Donani's, Mavry, remember, that's,
Was the Donati's
Maybe
one the one we
delivery.
just changed?
What's that?
Didn't Donati's change recently?
they did, they got out of the liquor business. They were just
Because
beer
they
and
also
wine.
carry one,
They have
an
the
X for 500, which would be not including hard liquor, right?
They
Isn't
have
the, isn't the,
S.
is the V a different classification, the license class based on what you're serving?
One second.
And what, that was at a previous meeting, as I recall. So maybe they're on there and shouldn't be. But then there's also S. They're there multiple times.
The village has a very boutique liquor license.
I should have brought it up offline.
Well, it
It's
just
not-
stems
It's not
from-
material to
yeah,
what we're talking
well,
about right now.
Well, it's likely a typo. I was just gonna try to understand the class. From time to time I've had these memorized, but sometimes I don't. Class V is retail of alcoholic liquor by consumption for premises, the customer, provide safety. Yeah. So this is, yeah, that's a typo. That Donati's doesn't have that anymore.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So this is the first reading of item number, what I lost, item 14. It's a first, so it's a voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So this motion carries. Is there a motion to waive the second reading and adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. It's a roll call vote, and this is a 2/3 majority required.
Trustee Rabin?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Brienne?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Murky?
Aye.
Thank you. So this ordinance passes. Thank you. Next item is item number 15, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a replacement backhoe loader and related equipment and declaring one 2002 case backhoe loader and related equipment as surplus. That item was not from 2022.
That was a typo.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. With over 5,000 hours, just in 2022, of use and no longer under warranty, the Village 2002 case backhoe loader with attachments is planned for replacement this fiscal year. The Vehicle and Equipment Replacement Fund includes $110,000 for this replacement. Utilizing the Sourcewell National Joint Procurement Cooperative pricing, consistent with village purchasing policies, and a $20,000 village trade-in allowance. The replacement backhoe loader with the necessary attachments is available for delivery in mid-January of 2023 at a total price of $107,462.07. If approved, the attached resolution will authorize the purchase of one case backhoe loader with a hydraulic breaker from Various Equipment, Inc. of Waukegan, Illinois, and trade-in of the old backhoe loader. Questions? If I hearing no questions, it is a roll call.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Briand?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Rappin?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is item 16 was addressed. Next item is item number 17, the trustees' report. Do we have any report tonight for the board?
I just wanted to say thank you again for Elrod and Friedman's seminar that was held last Friday for the trustees that were able to attend. It was very informative and very enjoyable, and I guess it's a continuation of a long history that started with Holland and Knight, and we appreciate all that you did to make us feel welcome and to educate us in the areas that we really need to be educated in. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would definitely support this comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other reports on the board? Thank you. Moving on to item number 18, the consideration of the April 25, 2022 executive session meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Do we have any changes to this report? If not, thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Briand?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Rappin?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is item 19, an executive session. Do we have an executive session?
We
today?
do talk about acquisition of property.
Okay. If so,
The motion to go to
can I please have a motion to enter executive session
Regarding acquisition of property.
regarding acquisition of property?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Briand?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Rappin?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
We should also conclude our open session right away. Could I please have a motion
Well,
to,
We'll just say that upon the adjournment of closed session, the public meeting will close automatically, so there'll be no further public business after closed session.
so it's a thank you to your viewing audience.
So let it be said, so let it be.
thank you.
Yep.
And so this session is closed as an open session. Thank you very much.